Everybody who's coming in, please be respectful of the floor that's being used when communicating. This is orderly and green. I just want to make sure everybody's respectful. Jamie and Crypto Kane are going to discuss what's going on with everything, so let's be respectful and not jump out and lash anybody. Make sure your mics are muted unless you are given permission to ask questions.
All right, so from the beginning, as everyone knows, I joined the team in an official capacity roughly about 2.5 weeks ago. From the time that I started with that team, it was evident that there was a clear lack of structural integrity to the team in terms of what the lines of communication were. It was not a, how should I say, democratic environment where effectively everything was funneled through Born Great for, decision. I had my hands slapped a couple of times for some of my public announcements that weren't cleared through him, which, whatever it was, I mean, it doesn't matter now, but I just shrugged that off. As I tried to let things go as long as I could, but coming from a very structured organization, being Salesforce, it just was kind of itching my OCD brain in terms of the lack of transparent communication, effective use of people and direction and whatnot. So that being said, Jamie and I started talking and agreeing on a lot of the things that I found to be wrong or lacking, in the team. So we came up with a draft, a memo, and we sent it only to a small number of people to begin with. That being Born, Evan, Ergo, and myself and Jamie were the ones included on that document. And what it outlined was the future steps or directions of the project, how things would, unfold, how we would communicate with, the community and within ourselves. And it outlined a basic framework of structure. What was relayed to me after that was sent out was that everyone involved thought that it was a great idea. For lack of a better term, I'm paraphrasing. So knowing that, I decided to draft up a more cohesive framework of structure, sub teams, some more official titles to people's roles, just so that we can have a more cohesive, I guess presentation or perception, out not only to the community but the non-investors yet to be, to invest in B3. So I yesterday had a team meeting and called it as an all hands. It included all level of members, right from new helpers all the way up to the top, to discuss what this new structure would be. And we had a good almost hour and 45-minute long conversation on the merits, the pros, the cons, basically figured out what we were going to do, how we would agree upon everything, and we had consensus as a group. Born wasn't there; he had been away for a few days, and so prior to this meeting, actually, I should say that I had made mention within the team that this was going to happen, and at no point did anybody stop me and say, "Hey, hold up, let's wait for a few days for Born to get back, or let's wait and let's talk about it first before announcing to the team, et cetera, et cetera." Nothing of that nature happened. So I proceeded. After the meeting, which was yesterday, this morning I wake up and there was yesterday after the meeting, Born came online. So I filled him in on what I did. He questioned why I included people, new helpers all the way up. And I explained that it was, the formal announcement to the meeting or to the team of the new structural changes. It was important that everyone was involved, and he didn't respond after that. So then fast forward to this morning, I wake up and I'm talking with some people on the team, Evan specifically. I said, so kind of what's going on. And so he said to me that, quote unquote, I'm on the structural document now. Born asked me to write it up. Okay. Those are the words that he used. He is already, actually disclose this. He's apologized for the misunderstanding of the context that I insinuated from those words. But what that did was it spawned another meeting this morning, or early this afternoon, with a bunch of team members to discuss kind of like, it appears that this doesn't have some support and it's being resisted. So we had a discussion. We agreed that we'll wait for Born and everyone else to provide their input before we make a final decision. Now, sorry, the understanding was that this would be done again as a group, right? Because everyone was included in the first and second WebEx, so this would be done again as a group. Minutes after the end of that WebEx, Driverless Crypto Crow had private messaged me. Turns out that he created a new administration channel and invited just myself, Born, Evan, himself, Ergo, and Jamie. And so he started trying to convince me that my position was wrong and that we shouldn't have involved the helpers because they were not essential to the decision of the structural changes that needed to be made within the team. I vehemently disagreed.
Does this work? Can you guys hear me?
We can hear you. Yeah. So
okay, it's actually driverless here. If you want to correct that statement.
Can you let him just keep talking and you can have
when he's can you let him finish, please?
Let Crypto King finish, please, everyone.
And I will disclose screenshots. I've taken screenshots of the chat at the time they occurred. So basically, Driverless was trying to make me see his point of view and how it was not important to have, like, I think the analogy was, if this is a corporation, you wouldn't involve the security guard to amend.
Yo, dude, fuck.
Oh, that was one of the analogies used, and I vehemently disagreed. And my point of view was such that we had already gone past the point of what he was talking about in terms of having a upper level.
Janice, mute your mic, Janice.
About having a upper level, agreement or discussion about the merits. We were already past that because we had already, presented to the team, etc. So this discussion went back and forth. I kept, pointing, voicing my point of view that, we had to open the lines of communication, that because of the lack of communication and the lack of support and the lack of structure, my actions were warranted because nothing was being done. My argument was such that there was a real lack of leadership, of tangible structure within the team. The lines of communication were blurred. There was not a real evident party line that had to be told or open lines of discussion amongst members of the team, etc. So I felt, in the best interest of the team, that this had to be done. So the discussion continued. Born jumped in, said a few things. Jamie
cornered me to one side.
So
do you want to talk about the previous stuff as well, about rank 1 and everything else?
So yeah, I will get into that as well. This is like
kind By the way, do you guys mind muting everyone else who's being very rude?
Yeah, it's fine. Keep going.
Yeah, I was actually just asking you to mod me, Jamie, and I can start deleting spam in your chat and mute people and stuff.
Yeah, who's that? Sorry.
Nerd 2.0.
Oh yeah, sorry, dude. Fucking too many people talking.
Yeah, so basically the conversation took a couple of turns, and it involved a couple of different discussion points. And then one of the things that came out was that Evan said, and this was actually disclosed to me during the first WebEx yesterday, that Jamie should not be on the board of directors that we were going to form.
Sorry, this is neutral. Who said that? Who said that stupid statement?
Anonymous was the one who said that.
Wow.
And his reason for saying that is that Jamie was simply the ambassador to the community.
I was the brand that got people in. That's what they said. They used me as a poster boy.
Wow. So anyway, that line of discussion came out in the chat. Again, I disagreed. I felt very strongly that Jamie deserves a seat on the board, if nothing else, because he does represent the community. And as being a community-driven project, an open source project, it's about inclusion, right? It's about involving the community in the project, and as it moves forward, for no other reason than higher morale within the community, and two, if the community understands the direction that we're going, it's more likely that we're going to be able to get people on board with upgrading wallets, generating consensus in the event of a hard fork. As we saw, that was a bit of an event that happened the last couple of times over the last week and a half or so, or 2 weeks. So basically, Jamie being on the board was absolutely critical. So what I did was I called a vote of everybody that was in there, which was basically everybody who would have been on the board anyway. And then it was called into question, why is there a vote? Why are we talking about this? Who's the board? Why does Jamie have to have a vote? I mean, there was all of these bullshit semantic arguments being thrown out left and right, and nothing of consequence was being discussed. Nothing was being moved forward. There was no progress being made.
CryptoCane, neutral, sorry to cut you off. Who was against Jamie exactly?
So it was Anonymous who was the one who was the most vocal and said that he should not be on the board. No one else actually said anything to the contrary. No one, basically everyone skirted around the subject, and everyone twisted around the conversation to avoid having to answer that question. So as things moved forward, we then started to discuss, the roles and why Draveless wasn't listed as anything but a community moderator. Well, and I said to that, well, to be perfectly frank, I don't know. I didn't know Draveless's history prior to me joining the team. Since when I joined the team, he was, leading the pool efforts. So then, Draveless shared what his previous role was in terms of recruiting staff members, of, basically being the guiding force behind the team and building the team up. So what I said was that, well, it sounds to me more like you are deserving of being a director of, operations, which is actually what he does in real life for a company. So I said, if I have to take a lesser role on the team to move this forward, then I'll do that. And I shared my extensive technology experience, what I do with Salesforce, how the fact that I work with for a massive automated system for software building, that and a code base that's dealt with by 8,000 worldwide developers. So I kind of have some insight into how to use best practices. So I said, okay, you know what? Maybe I'll be director of technology, because that's more in line with kind of what I do day to day. As the discussion about who was the best fit for what role continued, it focused on Jamie, and it focused on how he was the perfect fit for ambassador, because he's gifted with the persuasion, or the ability to persuade people, and the community. It's a very strong trait, and that's why he was perfect for the ambassador. And this was from Born Great directly in the chat. So as things went forward, Born Great made one comment of how Jamie didn't know much about crypto, and that was, whether Jamie's history of coding is crypto related or not, he still has an immense amount of talent when it comes to programming, understanding software systems, security penetration, etc. All valuable traits that are not mutually exclusive to crypto. I mean, they could be used all throughout software development. So I believe that it was an incendiary comment meant to set Jamie off. Jamie naturally has to defend himself and say, hey, you know what? I was the one that came up with the solution to the #1 wallet, right? Simple as that. That's all he said. It was my code that was, put in. It's encrypted in the code base. It is what it is. Born could have left it at that, He didn't. He chose to go off on a tangent and explain and drag up the history of what happened behind the number one wallet. So to go on that tangent and to explain that further, when Jamie came on board, he had identified that the number one wallet looked to be a security risk after I explained to him how consensus works and with proof of stake and how all those mechanics work. So then we decided to try and figure out who the person was. And when we couldn't figure out who it was, we then decided to do something about it technically within the code base. So that was the solution that Jamie came up with, his code. Joshua agreed and liked it and put it into the code base. But the point of this is that Born Great used this as a tangent to, again, bring up a line of discussion that was heavily biased against Jamie. Jamie's feeling quite naturally being ganged up upon. And whether that was the intent or not, that's what happened. That's what transpired. And I observed it myself. So Jamie asked to respectfully be removed from this channel and the chat. From that point on, that was pretty much the last of kind of what happened. There's more discussion in that channel. I don't know if I'm still part of it or not. But that it was at that point that Jamie announced that he was leaving the team. I was mostly decided. I still had to make some decisions for myself, which ultimately I have made. Now, the whole thing about the number one wallet was that there was some suspicion amongst the team.
Confirmed suspicion, pretty much.
Well, I wouldn't go that far, but I would say there was a lot of suspicion amongst a few individuals on the team that were, relatively speaking, new to the team because we had outside perspective. We weren't involved in any of the past history of the team, so we had a fresh perspective. There were a couple of questionable decisions that were, or actions that were, done. In terms of the Cryptopia issue, basically what happened was after we announced within the R&D channel what the solution was going to be and what we were going to do, we had discussed it publicly. It was only within the R&D channel, which only a handful of people had access to on the team. A couple of hours after that, the number one wallet started moving large sums of money out of the wallet, that had never happened in the months leading up to this happening. So somebody within the R&D channel, I can't point fingers because I don't know who it was, but somebody within that R&D channel tipped off whoever the owner of that wallet was, and only very few people had access to that knowledge. So it was a very controlled thing. So somebody within the team tipped off the number one wallet. As a result, they started funneling money to Cryptopia. A couple days prior, we had some private discussions with Born and had asked him if all of the exchanges had been put into maintenance mode. He said yes, all except for one. He didn't name the one that wasn't, but obviously it was Cryptopia. And after the number one wallet started moving funds, which was when Jamie reached out to the community to say, hey, let's tweet Cryptopia to get this in maintenance mode so he can't put any more money in, because he was trying to move the money so that it couldn't be frozen or whatever. So we managed to get Cryptopia to put it into maintenance mode, by which time 56 or 57 billion coins had already been transferred over, I think, about an 8-hour period. Which, because of that, once we actually managed to get the new wallet out to affect the code, which would freeze the assets of the number one wallet, it then affected the wallet that belonged to that individual on Cryptopia. But because it had already reached Cryptopia, and it was a what you would call a it was a I forget the term off the top of my head now, but the account was, the private keys were owned by Cryptopia because it was an account there. because it was a Cryptopia-owned account, they were required to investigate, and to look into the matter. And from day one, it didn't seem like they were negotiating in good faith with us, as we were trying to explain the situation, why it was done, what our reasons were behind it. It didn't seem to matter. So as time went on, we suspect that the number one wallet had contacted, the exchange, spun some story, whatever it was that they said, to the point where it the CEO of Cryptopia came into Discord asking questions about it, and he was then subsequently banned, which I think further set him off on whatever their perception of the events were, and decided then at that point to list the coin from Cryptopia. So that whole sordid affair started because of a leak of information within a close number of people within the team, which spawned natural distrust towards certain people on the team, because we couldn't know who had said what to whom, and then trying to move past that. So just trying to move past that is when I came in and Jamie came in with the idea to restructure the team, to relinquish or distribute the power of the team across more individuals, so that it's more of a democratic, more decentralized way of organizing and managing the team project. As a result, we would create a board of directors, and everything would flow nicely within the team, so that when it came time to actually announcing news out to the community, that we would have, a real game plan. We would have all of our contingency plans in order, and things would be a lot more smooth. So, effectively speaking, what it all comes down to is that today's actions showed to me that the quote-unquote leadership of the original team had been compromised, because they weren't doing things in the best interest of what was good for the team and consequently for the community. And it was as evident as not simply accepting the proposal that had already been agreed upon by the majority of the team. So now we had a couple of dissenting individuals within the team who didn't agree with the way things had been done. Well, at that point, it didn't really matter because we had consensus of the team. So it should have just been enacted, and we should have just moved forward with it. But it turned into this whole fucking sordid gong show of the discussion that, quite frankly, didn't have to have happened. So ultimately, what's come out of this is Jamie and I, and a number of other helpers from that original team have decided that.
We can't hear you.
Oh, I can hear him.
I can hear him, dude.
Yeah, I can hear him loud and clear.
What the fuck?
I can hear you just fine, Kane. Don't.
Yeah. Okay, so it seems the majority of people can hear me, so I'm gonna keep going. So basically, what it came down to is we felt that there wasn't a good environment within that team to move the project forward in a positive way, in order to make sure that everyone's investment was being properly taken care of. Now, Evan had been working on a number of different initiatives, partnerships and dealing with different exchanges, which now obviously we're going to have to restart the effort of. But I think that now that we have a situation where we have the lead developer on board, we have a team, of people we can trust, that we're going to be fully transparent with the community, not being muzzled or muted, unnecessarily. I think that we're going to be able to create and foster a better situation moving forward, so that we can ensure that this project deserves to hit the level of success that it needs to hit. if for no other reason than Joshua's brilliance. So that really does need to come out, and it does need to hit the crypto market, and everyone's investment needs to be secured. And that's what we're going to endeavor to do moving forward, effective immediately.
Can we discuss the screenshots posted in general currently, Evan?
So that's all I had to say. And now, Jamie, I guess if you want to pick it up, and then we can let people ask questions.
Yeah, where's the screenshots?
Oh. So I've got some things on my PC that I'm going to get organized, and I'll be releasing that out shortly.
This is the thing.
There are direct message conversations between Jamie and Evan.
Yeah. I can't see them.
So are you I mean telling me that when the coin was falling and we had the FM problems and everything, that user of Anonymous, he bought a car with V3?
Yeah.
Actually, if any of you guys were paying attention when all this was going on, that was the only announcement that Evan decided he was going to make early. He was like, I was going to wait to announce this, but I officially bought a car with B3. And even me personally, by the way, this is Nerd2O. I would just like to add, while all this is going on, Born Great, the only announcement he gave in his own B3 Discord was that I will make an announcement at the appropriate time. So still just telling the community, oh, just wait, I'll make an announcement eventually. Like, do you guys not see the pattern here? It was constantly news soon. I don't know. That's me personally.
What is unbelievable for me is, like, you know, plenty of people were like worried about not earning any reward, and they were burning millions of coins, you know, and a guy was earning all of them, and then you go and buy a car. So it's like, you know what I mean? It's like, dude, do you give a shit? It's like, oh my god. So yeah, I'm happy they're out.
That's kind of the point I'm making. Like, you were hyping up the community that you got this, you know, you guys are gonna love this announcement. What the hell is the community who's investing in the coin going to love that you got yourself a car? Like, how is that?
I just don't understand how we're gonna move on from here on out. Like, how are we gonna separate from them?
So basically speaking, we have we're going to be bringing Joshua with us onto this new community. Joshua is the owner of the code base. He's the lead developer. So effectively speaking, nothing changes. The only thing we don't have access to is the money in the wallets that Born has the sole access to, you know, with the private keys for all the funds of, you know, BTC and LTC, where people bought coin directly from the team, as well as the marketing funds of B3. That being said, between Jamie, myself, and one other individual, we've managed to put together a decent amount of coin that we can use for the purpose of supporting the project. So once we've come up with details, you know, we'll be able to, you know, get that sorted out. I mean, the first order of business right now is making sure that, you know, you guys, everyone in the community is aware of what's happening, that you guys are comfortable with what's happened, you know, easing any concerns, any fears you guys might have. And then from there, at the same time, we'll be building up our team, you know, and making sure that it's done in a very structured manner, you know, and done so that we can we can have a structured, communication with you guys on our plans moving forward. And being able to announce good news, when it comes up, and not waiting for it to be hyped up and used at the most opportunistic time to release that news, which ultimately I think is a little bit manipulative of the community to not release news as it comes out, but instead to try and benefit from the most marketing punch of when we release.
Hey, Habanero here, Crypto Kane. I just think I got a main question that I think most people are probably thinking in their own mind is, despite all this controversy and this division in the team, what's going to happen, with the official pool, with all the funds that are locked up in it? Like, are we going to expect to get our coins back in a short period of time, or are we just going to twiddle our thumbs?
So basically, Dravilis is the one doing most of the withdrawals with Born's help. I would imagine that they would stick to their promise. I don't have any control over that. Neither did Jamie. Born holds the private keys for the pool. So I would imagine that they would at least stick to their promise of returning the coins to everybody. But that would be an issue that you would have to take up with them, since they're the ones in control of that process.
So by that, you're saying it might not.
Hey, this is Oregon Green. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Hey, I just want to let you know that Neutro has somehow been muted. Obviously he's kind of been the interface with some of you guys. I know he's spoken with some of you guys. So can we make sure that he's unmuted so that he can at least be an interface again for the community? Obviously my role has still been to speak for the community as much as possible during all this stuff. And I don't know how this is all going to transpire. All I'm doing is I'm being an observer and a listener here. So I do want everybody to know that I still have your best interest in mind, and I'll be here to help facilitate that in any way. So I just want you guys that kind of broke away from the other side to know that as well, that I have the community's best interest in mind as well.
This is Neutral. Can anybody hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, thank you. I've been unmuted. Thank you for that. That is, unfortunate news, I guess, at a time like this. But I would really like to hear from Jamie. I want to know, like, who was against Jamie besides Evanonymous? Was Born Great against Jamie?
Do you want to answer that, Kane? Sorry, I'm just sorting people out.
I actually can't answer that because I don't know who else aside from Evan was directly opposed to Jamie. That's the only
and the reason
I know I can name.
The reason I'm asking that is because I don't know who's lying to me, but Born said something to me, and I'm very confused by the information that's forthcoming. So I'm just wondering if this power struggle was between. I don't know why anybody would have.
It's not a power struggle. That's the thing, right? The thing is right. So I always suspected Born as being involved with rank 1. I told him information and Ergo that only them two would know about rank 1. And as soon as I told them, the information started getting, the coins started getting dumped before I even announced to the community or anything. So me and Born have always had a rivalry. We had a big argument in our team chat, and we kind of got over that hurdle. And it just seems every day, we had a team chat a few days ago, like Kane was saying, and everything were perfect, everything were hunky-dory and awesome. And then, today, everybody kicked off, Born kicked off, and Evan kicked off. And then we had, all the helpers and everybody kicking off in WebEx. And I said, I'm leaving, right? And then Dravis said, yeah, no, don't. Let's call a vote. Let's speak to Born. Let's get his side. Let everybody involved. As soon as we hung up on that WebEx, he pulled us aside, all into a private room with 4 of them, and then proper blasted at us. So that to me doesn't, show that he gives a shit.
Okay. Thank you, Jamie. I mean, I don't understand why anybody would be against you after everything you've done for the community, unless it's a power struggle or somebody fears is threatened by you for some reason.
Yes, if you can remember, since Jamie came in and also CryptoCane, everything started to change, and all the information that we had actually came out to the public, and also you were informed, not like before, just countdowns and yeah, the news is coming today, tomorrow, the next week. So this is purely a power struggle, and Born is holding all the funds actually of the project. This is unacceptable because one person holding all the private keys and actually the whole project and everything, the whole power. This is not the idea of community, and he is actually dictating everything, and no one can say anything. So this needs to end. And also, we are also afraid about your funds and everything because they're holding the pools, they're holding the marketing. Not they, it's just one guy, it's just Born Great. So
well, it's a good thing we're with Frogger, some of us.
Yes.
Yeah, this is a great thing actually. I regret involving investors putting their funds in the official pool because first they didn't stake well because the pool was not managed well at all. I think everyone knows this. Frogger was always the best pool manager, so there is nothing to say about that, nothing more.
God bless.
Okay. So
guys, I just want to say one thing. Kane and Jamie are the only two that have ever come into the chat and chatted with us, let us know anything. If we don't trust these two guys, then we might as well just give up. This is the direction we need to go. This is what we have to do. We need to let everybody.
Can I say something?
Neutral here. I think that Jamie is trusted by me fully, as well as CryptoCane fully, because I've spoken with both of them and I have zero concern. I'm just wondering what is the best thing for the community. As I said before, everyone's replaceable in any organization, from janitor to CEO. The question is, what is the best decision for everyone's sake, not one individual? We're all in this together. We're all supposed to be pretty equal, other than who's got a few more coins than others. And we all here are to support Josh. That's the key. So what is the best thing for this?
Well, Neutral, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Excuse me, this is Proza. Can you hear me, guys?
These two guys that come over here and started this, Jamie and Kane, they're the only ones that have ever engaged us. They're the only ones that have ever been up front with us. If we can't see the writing on the wall, then, we need to slap ourselves.
I have a question. Can I speak, Prozac here?
Go ahead.
Go ahead, man.
My question is very basic, actually. If Joshua will, he's the owner of the project and he's going to team up with you now, how will we get then? Who will guarantee us that we will get any funds from official pool if they realize that Joshua will not stick with
Worst case scenario is if there's anything like that at all, we'll work together as a community. We'll get Joshua to implement some airdrop from the previous network, so everyone still has the same, and then minus from the pools, into that. And then worst case scenarios, we'll just fucking fork around it and just carry on, and we'll call it B4 because it'll live, right? So.
The important thing to mention right now is that last night Joshua was studying for exams, and then today he would be studying or actually writing those exams. So if you don't see Joshua, or if we don't release news right away, that's why. It's because we need to wait until he's gotten past that part of his current week.
Fair enough. Thank you. And Joshua did say that to me also 2 days ago. So here's what if I may, and I don't mean to be selfish in asking too many questions. Everyone has the right, but I just want to ask this. I care about the community as a whole, overall, not any one person, as I've said before. I want to make sure everybody's taken care of. I've stepped up, and made sure that I voiced that there was a problem in the whole B3 community, and that the communication was false, which is the only reason that I ever spoke up. And so I totally see the problem, and I'm just wondering how do we correct the problem that was there before immediately, regardless of what happens, you know, how we change things? That's not the point. So that the community continues and the community stays strong. How do we do that so that it's a proper team in place with proper professionalism and communication? Who would be that team?
Right, so that's going to consist right now of myself and Jamie. And then we're going to be bringing on board a number of the helpers that stepped down from the previous team, which are individuals that we can trust, that we know have, you know, the project's best interests at heart. And then from there, we will be doing, you know, a round of recruiting, you know, interviewing people, seeing what their strengths are, what their skill sets are, what they bring to the table, what they think they can do to help the project. And from there, I believe what we will do is build together a roster of suitable candidates. And then what we're going to do is we're going to be as democratic as possible. We're not going to appoint these people. We're going to have the community vote, right? So we're going to get all the information together. We're going to announce who's who, what their role is intended to be, and then people will vote them in. This will be a very democratic process, a very inclusive process, because I think that that's exactly what we need right now. We need less of an authoritarian sort of measure to just name people to a team, seemingly sometimes without merit. So we're definitely going to go on a merit-based approach, but those candidates will have to be voted in by the community.
That is,
Quick
that
question.
is music to my ears. That is good news. And then in every transaction and in every move, whether in business or in community, somebody wins and somebody loses. Who do you think will lose in this transaction?
I think with things being so current right now, it's hard to say. I think that we'll have to let you know, the particular actions play out.
He didn't know what he was doing, apparently, from what LIMX dev says. He's a student in mathematics, so he has some sort of, I guess, background with numbers. But as far as coding, he needed LIMX dev to help him out. So that tells me
no matter who they are, you negotiate an exit strategy so that they are participating in the transition that is occurring, whether they like it or not, rather than shun them out and then them being revengeful and all that. We don't need that.
Right. And that's why I say we have to let the actions play out, so that once we are confident that we'll have the majority of support on our side, at that point, then it's prudent to begin those negotiations. But we can't start them now. We have to wait until the dust is settled. So it's going to be a bit of a transitionary period of time. But once we get to that point, that stage, that's when we'll start trying to work with everyone involved and try and make this as peaceful of a transition as possible, so that, you know, we can make sure that the community is looked after as best as possible.
Fair enough. I'd like to tell you that if you do proceed in such a fashion, I will volunteer my time to negotiate such exits with whomever it is.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
I'm saying that if you do proceed in such fashion, do create a team that it has the best interest of the entire community at heart, when it's really democratic, as you're saying, which is music to my ears, which is exactly what I wanted for the community, for myself. If you do that democratic process in voting in members who will participate selflessly in this community, who will, you know, protect Josh and you and Jamie and whoever else is on the team, I'm saying pending that, if you do that, I'm willing to volunteer my time to negotiate with those people an exit strategy so that we don't have a problem with them in being retaliatory or revengeful. I just think that I'm qualified to negotiate such exit strategies, if you will let me.
All right. Well, I thank you for volunteering. Once again, like I said, this is all still really, really new and fresh. But once we kind of have some time to breathe and determine the next steps, that's when we're going to start making those decisions. But I'll definitely keep that in mind. Thank you.
Hello, CryptoCane.
Hi, go ahead.
Yeah, I think what actually happened is very good and positive because we knew we were putting the money into the pool, the official pool, and that had a risk, because too many coins on there, and it was just on one wallet, and Mr. Frogger, my Frogger was very good, but then this guy, Born Great, I never liked him, or Anonymous, I don't know, they were like, I just didn't like them, and finally, well, they got greedy and they wanted the coins, right? So it's actually good because then we're just remain, the best people in here for the community. What I would like to ask you is how you're planning to release the coins, or can we like lock the coins so they don't have any value, or fork it, or I don't know.
So first of all, I mean, I would say that it's prudent to not cast blame or to insinuate things that we can't prove. I can't speak on, the character of Evan and Born in terms of what their motivations are. I just don't know. I'm not a mind reader. I would say that I've seen Evan to be nothing but supportive of the project and doing his best to make sure the project succeeded. So I personally don't believe Evan to be a greedy person. But that being said, I think that it's important to focus on the positivity of moving forward. As for making things of no value, I think that would be a very contentious step. I think that the best thing to do, as Neutro suggested, is to make sure that all parties involved are not
hey guys, Sky here too, guys.
Yeah, hey Sky. So the process is as smooth as possible, so that things don't end up in a bigger mess than they have to be.
Yeah, well, you said you don't know if some people is being greedy, but if you read the general, someone said, are you the number one wallet?
You guys hear me?
And he said, I fucking wish, or something like, so.
No?
Guys,
I mean, I think that if you take a step back and look at the context of that comment, I think it would be safe to say that all things being equal, if any of us had the opportunity to have 94 or 100 billion coins, I would say that at some level, almost every single individual would say, well, that would be kind of a nice situation, right? To have that much. But in terms of the context of the situation and the way things played out with that wallet, I think that it's unfortunate the way things turned out. That's all.
Hey, can someone catch me up today? I've been off of Discord. I mean, all day.
Yeah, Sky, I can bring you up to speed privately.
Okay.
I had about a 30-40 minute talk here. So I'm kind of a little bit tired, but I will definitely catch you up here soon.
I have been recording most of this conversation, just so you guys know.
Okay,
so I
cool.
can upload the audio for most of it.
And I know that, just so that everyone's aware, and I think that it's pretty apparent that I try to speak as factually as possible. I know that Dravilus tried to jump in to say, hey, can you correct something? I think I know what he was referring to, so I think I did that. But I'm never going to, present something as fact if I am not, perfectly sure of those facts. I won't, make baseless allegations or accusations publicly because I think that it's just not warranted to do that. I think that it's, you have to be responsible, when you say things, and when you do say them, they have to be true. And that's just how I conduct myself every day of my life, not just, here in Discord with crypto.
This is neutral, and also, if I may suggest, we don't need to attack anyone's character ever. We can
No,
talk
I
about
I
the.
completely agree. It's Jamie speaking. Like, I'm not slagging anyone off, shape, or form. Evan can post the screenshots that he wants to post. I'll reply. I've got a million others damaging, but I'm not going to do that because it's not fair, you know. And I've give up the whole bullshit political stuff now.
Come on, guys.
Yeah, sorry. There we go. Brack just muted him. But yeah.
Thank you, Jamie, because even you know it doesn't matter. It's people's actions that matter, and actions speak louder than words anyway. So we just need to. Anyway, that's enough said. Jamie, do you have anything to say? How do you feel about this whole thing?
Me, I'm really upset, to be honest. If I had to tell you the truth, I'm genuinely upset. I didn't want to get to this. You know, it's a spur of the moment thing, but I'd thought about it numerous times. And, you know, after the conversation that we had, and you guys will see the conversation between the team and the helpers, you know, they pulled us to one side and pretty much cornered us. It was like, Jamie, you're the ambassador. That's all you are. You're the face. That's it. And, you know, how much does that make me feel considering, you know, I'm involved in the R&D. I'm involved with you guys. I'm involved with the marketing. I'm involved with so much stuff. And in the end, you know, I was like, well, you know, that's not fair, right? And, you know, I don't understand how one person can hold so much power and influence over everybody. It's unreal. You know, that's why I'm creating this as a vote structure. You guys vote for what you want, and it's based around vote. You know, you hear your voice.
Very good. Very good. So what do you guys have a timeline of what you would like to accomplish?
Out. In the next few hours, we're going to stay awake all night, and we're going to work everything out and tell you guys, you know, exactly where it is. Right now, we've got one chat or two chats in general. That's it. We're going to build this up, get Josh on, get Josh talking to you guys, and settle things down and just, you know.
Okay. Is there anything that we can do to help you?
Yeah, just keep everybody in general chat. Just talk to them, to explain to them what you've heard today. You know, I don't want to create any rivalry. I don't want to quit this. I just want to go one, you know, separately, just like a Project Forks. We're forking the community. And, you know, if everyone that sees us listen, you know, they want to be a part of that. You know, I didn't force anyone to come. I sent one link out on Twitter and everybody else did the rest, right?
Right.
Okay, can I ask, so like Joshua knows about this or he doesn't know at all what is happening? I mean, you are already sure that he will go with you.
Yeah, I'm really, really sure. I'm flying out to see him anyway next week. I'm talking to him now, but he's asleep. So I'm just waiting for him to wake up. He's probably going to wake up to a shitstorm. But, you know, me, Kane, you can vouch for my relationship with Joshua. You know, Joshua said to us, didn't he, privately, that he's only here because of us. And that, you know, he announced he wanted to leave several times, but we kept him in. Because he's fed up with getting told what to do and where to go, and that's not how it should be. His mind should be free.
But yes, how did B3 team even start to communicate with Joshua then? How did Born?
Because of me. I'm the first person that actually talked to him on voice chat. You know, Kane, you can back that up, can't you? He said he'd never spoke to anybody in voice before. And it was me that started him communicating.
Yeah, I don't remember that exactly.
Yeah, but you came 2 weeks ago.
Situation, but from my understanding is that most of the communication between the team and Joshua prior to our arrival was done through chat and almost exclusively through Born for strategic issues, for marketing and stuff. And then I do believe also Evan had spoken with him via chat quite a lot, because the sense that I got was that there were a couple of people who were familiar with Joshua, at least via chat. I don't know prior to that if there was any communication via voice. I don't suspect there was, because I mean, Born has almost never come on to a voice chat with anyone, even within the team. So I highly suspect that he wasn't communicating with him verbally, and I'm not sure about anybody else. But yeah, no, definitely. Jamie and Joshua do seem to have a very unique relationship in terms of being able to understand each other on a certain level. You know, and Josh does seem to have a respect for Jamie, knowing who Jamie is just out in the world, right? Not within crypto, within this team. So I think that's beneficial as well.
Have you guys spoken with Born or Ergo?
So I mean, we haven't spoken.
Yeah,
since,
they're speaking with me
from that administrative channel. I think Born wished me well. You know, I had some PMs from Ergo, you which I mean I'm not going to repeat because that's not relevant. But I'm not actively talking with any of them at the moment.
Is it possible to get a statement from Josh expressing his solidarity with the new movements taking place?
Yeah, so as I said, right now, it's it's morning time over there now, early morning, and Joshua's going to be writing exams right now for college. So once he's done with that and he has time to come online, we'll, have a chance to speak with him. And then, we'll try and get him to write at least a statement that we can, provide, or to have him provide it to the community.
One more important question. Are our wallets and the B3 coins that we currently own, are they safe, or can the old members of the team in any way manipulate them or do something to the blockchain or anything that can, cause any issues for us as investors?
No, the only thing that they can do, they can't do anything, actually. It's entirely safe. Nobody there has access to, the Git repo, other than some helpers, which they don't even have full control of. Joshua has, full control access, or full control of the repository of the code base. And the wallets themselves are secured. They can't do anything with the wallets or the coins in those wallets.
And this is Sky. In full transparency, I was recently given access to Git. I don't know what the level is, but I wanted to obviously help with the wallet code base. So I was given access. I just don't know what that access means exactly right now. I haven't looked at it. I think I can push code out there or whatnot. So.
Yeah, and this is Habanero, and thanks, Guy, for speaking up there too. I just hope as a community we can all kind of really try to pay attention to what's going on with the official pool, and trying to really make sure that we get our coins out of the pool safely and effectively in some type of a structured manner. So I think that's what everyone's kind of concerned with right now.
Yeah, so I do have some insight into how that process works. I was speaking with CDR Archangel and as well Dravelis. The entire way that it was managed behind the scenes is very clunky. It's very manual. So if anyone's wondering why in the past it took so long to do something, is because of that clunky manual process. And they just, I think CDR mentioned that he went over all of the different transactions and line items that need to be consolidated and verified and then sent out. And I think he came up with a number. I think it was like 460 man hours or something that it's going to take for one person to go through and do all of that. So with it only being two, that's an incredible amount of time for the process. So I think the best thing that you could do for them is to, yes, be aware, be on top of the situation, but also try and give them as much breathing space as possible, in order to give them the time that they can go through and make sure that they, confirm all the transactions and get all the withdrawals out safely. And a big help to them would be for everybody to make sure that the wallets that you have the coins coming to are upgraded to 3004, because without that, they can't send the coins safely or reliably.
This is Neutral. Is Dravelis on this call?
He was, but I saw he may have gotten banned or something, or he just left on his own accord. I don't know. I saw him leave.
Okay. What about the other gentleman that deals with our wallet, with the pool?
Hey,
I mean,
Kane,
your pool wallets will be.
He didn't have any access to the wallet. He said he didn't want access because there was 29 billion coins in there.
Okay, so the only one that has full access is Dravelis?
Yeah, as of now, that's what I was told today.
Okay, so I need to speak with Dravelis and make sure that he does a proper thing and putting everyone's coin back into their
Your
wallet.
coins are going to be withdrawn from the pool. They will be withdrawn. No one's going to hold your coins captive.
Who's
your coins
speaking?
will be Danny, the helper. I've been talking to Drav all night. Your
Okay,
coins
so
will
he
be drawn.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, we're not going to hold your coins captive. They will be
All right.
withdrawn.
Thanks, Danny.
Fair enough. Thank you.
Hey, this is SK
Fry.
again. My question is, what sort of checks and balances will be put in place with the new team and members to ensure something like this doesn't happen, where one person is the only person with, a set of private keys or something, or, the most power? What do you plan on doing to kind of establish some sort of checks and balances?
Yeah, so that was actually part of the proposal that I had presented to the team. And that was to have multiple individuals. So we have some levels of contingency of people holding the private keys, so that it's not just with one person. Now, ultimately, that's still not the most secure way to do it. I have talked with Josh. This was about a week and a half ago, and I brought up the idea of developing some new code into the wallet to enable a multi-signature capability, which would allow multiple people to sign to authorize withdrawals and transactions from a wallet, so that it's one private key that's not shared, but there are multiple public keys that are shared from members of the team, to ensure that there's not only consensus but also a safe majority of any transaction happening on that wallet. And that technology will filter down to everybody. So then you can start your own multi-sig wallets. So you can ensure that if you're sharing with a friend, you guys can have your own key each, and both of you would have to sign to do a transaction. So that's the only really truly safe way to do it. For now, what we'll do is we'll do what we can is to share the private key amongst at least 2 individuals to ensure that there is some redundancy. The other aspect of that, I would say, is that it wouldn't be an immediate thing if we do that with the wallet. That was just an idea that Joshua liked. So it will take time to implement that, but that is eventually one of the security features I would like to see personally built into the wallet.
Thank you. That sounds promising. And last question that I have, obviously, what transpired this evening is going to get a lot of, headlines or whatever in the crypto world. Is there any plans to do some type of damage control, make like an official statement on Twitter or anything to kind of, bring everyone back together and settle something without giving away too much? Because as of right now, those that aren't on this Discord, they've only been exposed to, a couple of different outlets of this news, one being Jamie's Twitter and, the other being the other Discord channel.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's definitely something that we'll have to do. And again, like Jamie said, we're after we're finished with this chat for the evening. We're going to kind of put our heads together and start kind of hashing out the immediate things that we need to take care of first and foremost. And then from there, we'll just start building out a plan of attack and making sure that we can, touch on all the things that we need to touch on, get announcements out. And it's going to be a process. It's not going to be an overnight process. It will take a little bit of time. But I think the most important thing is that, should we be grateful enough to have the, support of the community, that's going to go a long, long way. Community support is everything. And without that, we don't have a chance to, form the type of team that this project deserves and that this community deserves.
Well, by the way, this is neutral. Why is does anybody know why Anonymous is posting private messages between him and other people? I mean, it's not very professional and reassuring.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I can't speak to that. Not having insight into that. All I know is that we're going to do everything that we can and communicate everything that we need to communicate publicly, not privately, with the exception of catching up a few people who are a little bit behind. But I mean, I personally will never reach out to an individual to ask for their support. I have several DMs of people, giving me their support, so that's great, and I thank you for that. You know who you are. Yeah, I'll never do anything to try and build a power base, because I think that I'm transparent enough and open enough to do things publicly, and I think that's more appreciative in the community than doing something behind everyone's back like that.
Hey, Kane, this is J Moore. I have a question for you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Just for the sake of trust to the community, while you guys are figuring things out behind the scenes, would you mind if Neutro and Oregon Green kind of kept their roles over here on this channel until y'all figure out what you all going to do going forward?
Yeah, I think for now that would be the best thing, because that leaves somewhat of a consistent basis for the community to reach out to on. So I mean, I'm okay with that. Once we determine what's going on, how things work, then we'll start kind of filtering that out to the community as we decide upon that.
Thank you. I do want to address something, if you don't mind.
I was just going to add real
Yeah,
quick
I want to address something. I don't know if Oregon is here. Oregon, you here? Perhaps not. CryptoCane, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yep, I can hear you.
All right. So I do have to say something very important. I did volunteer my time, and I wanted to be part of the community, and I still do. However, from now on, there is a condition to me doing this, because I have my name on the line. A lot of you know who I am, and I don't mind sharing who I am publicly once things are a little more calm. But I do not want to tarnish my reputation. I try to help the community. So the condition for me to continue to do this under these circumstances is that I am a part of the discussions with the team, so that I actually understand. I'm not blindsided. Today I got blindsided. I spoke with Born Great. He called me personally on my cell phone from his cell phone, and I heard something, and it didn't make sense what I heard, and I was like really confused about it. And so now I'm hearing that there's a move going on. So I'm not comfortable continuing in this role unless I am privy to the information that is actually happening. So if you agree with that, CryptoCane, you can talk to Jamie. That's fine, and let me know. I don't know how anybody else feels, but that is what I require in order to feel comfortable in representing the community and speaking to the community. Because otherwise, I don't want to be blindsided again, like what just happened today.
Yeah, and that's something we can revisit there's just so much that we have to figure out right now immediately. Once we start determining kind of what the landscape looks like, there's just so much that we need to discuss ourselves before we start building up the team, creating bringing forth the candidates and everything else, building up the team.
CryptoCane, I understand that, but with all due respect, you need me now more than ever. So, and especially when Born Great is calling me in the last 15 minutes again. So I need to know what to do, what to say, I don't know which way to go at the moment until I know more information. So if you guys are going to
so the only thing I can say right now, and I think that it's been proven, I'm communicable, and I am forward with the community, and I'm open, and I'm transparent, and I'm honest. What I will say is that things are in flux. Like right now, it's a wait and see. There's no need to make an immediate decision on anything at the moment. From the community's perspective, we're going to keep everybody up to date, obviously. That's why we're doing this right now. But I think there's some very specific, pointed things that we need to figure out strategically, before we can move forward. And then once we've decided on that, then we can, filter things out to the community as that comes out. Just
I understand that.
There's just a lot of right now we have to be careful, right? This is not an issue of distrust or anything else of that nature. Of you specifically, it's just we need to be very careful right now about how we proceed in order to make sure that this is successful. And the first thing we need to do is speak with Joshua, get his idea of the situation, because right now this has all happened while he's been asleep. So we need to talk with Joshua first, and then once we have the three of us, and once we're committed, and once we are moving forward, then at that point, then we can start talking about other aspects to involving community and that in the meetings and discussions and what transpires.
Kane,
Fair
can you
enough.
hear me?
Fair enough, Crypto Kane. You've got my cell phone. You know who I am. Give me a call. Until then, I unfortunately I will be a listener in the
All right.
community. Okay.
Okay. Thank you,
guys. I was just gonna. This is Nerd 2.0, by the way. I was just gonna add to those that were just saying. to
Okay,
Kane.
so I'm
Can you hear
gonna
me?
speak with Jamie here for a bit. Do you guys have
Hello.
any last questions you'd like to ask?
Yeah, Crypto Nerd 2.0 was asking you a question. I don't know if you have him muted, but
Yeah, I didn't hear anything.
yeah, he was talking. I could hear you,
I can't
Nerd.
believe it. Kane muted me.
He's crying because you muted him.
Anyways, I was just gonna
No,
say.
he's definitely not muted. I just can't hear him for some reason.
Hold on, I'll disconnect and reconnect.
He's gonna reconnect and ask you.
In the meantime, Crypto Kane, this is K-Dog. I usually take notes over discussions, and I just did that here as well. Do you guys want these notes posted back in the other Discord or not?
Yeah, I mean, you can give them to me. And if we want to post those to the Discord, then we can do that. Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Additionally, I'm recording this conversation. Where would you like this recording posted after it's done? Would it be? Would you want it public or not?
Your website, dude.
I mean, right now, you could probably upload it to YouTube, unlisted.
Okay.
Just give the link, and then we can
All
go
right,
from
unlisted.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Can I be heard now, or Kane, or no?
Yep, you're good.
Okay. All I was trying to say is to the few that have been asking Kane, well, can this person continue doing what they were doing? Can this person, still do this active role and stuff like that? I just want to remind you guys what they're trying to do here. They're not trying to rewrite the entire team, the entire script, the entire way things were going. They're simply trying to remove the wolf dressed as the sheep. It's not a complete rewrite. They're not trying to change everything. It's just trying to deal with one problem that they tried to approach multiple ways and got shut down every time.
No, I understood that. I just wanted to make sure that he was okay, that we had chats here on this channel every day and we weren't encroaching on their territory. I just wanted to get his okay, basically.
No, and absolutely, like the community is free to discuss amongst themselves or wherever and however they choose. Like we're not like we want open communication, and we definitely want the community to discuss amongst themselves. So by all means, there's no stepping of toes. There's no we encourage that, right? So if that's what you guys want to keep doing, then definitely keep doing that because we're definitely in support of that.
This is Ryan. Can I ask you guys one quick question?
Sure. What's up?
So I noticed that Joshua is asleep, and one of the most important person in this team, and the fact that you guys just decided to merge to a different group seems that for the entire community. So my question is it possible that you guys, everyone in the team would just talk to each other, have a good conversation, and just be transparent within the community so that we can have one good discussion and in the future? Because it seems that what's going on right now is very unhealthy.
Yep, I can appreciate that. With respect to Joshua, this topic has been broached a couple of times in the past, so it's not something that's going to be completely out of left field. I think the suddenness of it might catch him by surprise, but I think that was out of necessity more than anything, because as Jamie was alluding to earlier, we had several team meetings where we had great where we had great consensus amongst the group of everybody who participated, and it was just a few key individuals who dissented, who abstained, who wanted to control the situation, and from their perspective, by twisting conversation, by twisting the topics at hand, and again, like I said, I can release a transcript of that admin chat that transpired or that led to this action occurring. So at that point, once I've had a chance to kind of review it and go back over and make sure that there's nothing that doesn't need to be there, I'm not going to edit anything. I just want to make sure that it can be just released as is, because I think that there's enough information that isn't sensitive that everybody should be able to read it. So I've got no problems with that. But I'll be doing that shortly. Just there's a lot, obviously, as you can imagine, that needs to be kind of organized and gone through. And this is all very sudden. And just to let everybody know, like, I've made every single attempt to make this work with the existing team as it was. And I tried a couple different ways, through conversation, through WebEx, through, anything else, and it wasn't accepted. Right. So, it was, and it wasn't just that it wasn't accepted. If there was a rational reason for it to be, not accepted, then I would accept that. Right. But there was no rational reason that it should have devolved to this point. It was the fact that people kept repeating, semantical arguments and never actually addressing the situation. I see people saying that Josh is online, which is fantastic. So Jamie and I will have a chance to speak with him. Josh is obviously very confused. So let me go and talk with Josh and Jamie right now, and then we'll be able to get this sorted out for you guys.
Hey, I'm sorry to do this to you guys, but this is T-Virus. Do you think I could just get a brief summary as to what's going on? I haven't really been following this, and
Yeah, can somebody in the community catch him up? Because I think that everybody here is pretty well versed now in terms of what I've said.
Yeah, we'll take care of it, King. Go do what you do, bud.
I have the whole thing recorded. I'll just upload it to YouTube now.
Yeah, maybe you can also post it on the community spreadsheet.
Yeah, this is Oregon Green. If you can send it over to my Oregon Green without the 2 account, just send that over to me and I'll post it. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's
Just give it a minute to process. It's an hour and 25 minutes long.
That's all good. Yeah, you guys know how to get a hold of me on that. I had to use the Oregon Green 2 one because I posted the Discord link earlier and it insta banned me, so that's why I'm on this one, just so everyone knows.
Hey guys, Jimmy Capital here. I just want to have a question. I'm quite concerned. I just don't know who to obviously which channels of information should I follow. Obviously, who's in charge of the Discord? When is this going to be resolved? Also, who's in charge of Twitter? Who's in charge of that? Website as well, because this is big, this is important. How you guys looking to sort this? Who's in charge now then? Just even from that small point of a small number of guys then, who obviously, have you got any answers?
This is Nertuo. I myself can't answer that, but I mean, at the end of the day, another website can be put up, another Twitter can be put up, another, you know what I mean? It's from my understanding that I believe, and don't quote, I can't be quoted on this, so I know this is being recorded, I think, but I think Born Gray is who had access to that stuff, which, although the community numerous times was stating, well, the website should be updated. The wallet link doesn't even link to the current wallet. It's confusing people and all this.
Guys,
I personally feel like it was constantly,
Yeah.
it was
Guys,
always like it'll be updated later.
Well, 1 second, guys. This is Sky. I know that, again, just whatever it's worth. I mean, if everyone is in the best interest of the coin and Josh, I think we really need to know what Josh thinks and how he wants to go. If we start regardless of what faction thinks that they're right here, right? Because of the split, it's going to put Josh in the middle of a tug of war, and given his demeanor and his less confrontational attitude, he likes tech. He's a genius that writes code, that wants to build a great coin. A community was built around his vision, not the other way around. The community didn't build a coin. The coin was built by him, and a community was formed. That community is now splitting. I think in the best interest of the tech and the coin, including myself, need to really step aside and not talk about who's managing the next Twitter account and who's doing the new website, because that's going to put a lot of stress on him. We got to know what Josh thinks.
Trying to say, I was gonna close. I was
Yes,
gonna
we're
end.
trying to get him.
I was
let
gonna
us
end
speak
with
to
what I
him,
was
and
saying.
we try to get him in the general voice, so he can talk or at
Yes,
least join the chat.
I was gonna say, for specific questions like that, we should just wait. Josh just came online. Like, this is so fresh. Kane, Jamie, they're talking with him, and so for specific questions, I know everybody wants stuff answered right now, but we kind of got to let it play out a little bit and go from there.
Yeah,
you
I
guys,
just want. Sorry. Let me just finish. Thanks for this. Thanks for the answers, Kai, as well. Because I just wanted to know, obviously, because it's important to know, because obviously, if so, you can pretty much say that you guys have the dev, but you're not in control of the advertising on the information channels. So that's important to know. Thanks.
Yeah, and I just wanted to add, as far as what's going on. I mean, we should just really be calm and see what Josh has to say. I mean, he might issue a statement himself, and I mean, if he's going to side with, Jamie and Crypto Kane, I mean, I think that's pretty telling, guys. I mean, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, and that's the thing. As Crypto was building out the structure for the original, the original team structure. One of the things that constantly kept coming up is Josh going to be okay with this? Because again, his development efforts have typically been under his complete control, and his vision was constantly driving it. And of course, the whole corporate mentality of forming a structure around the coin could have diluted that vision and went in different directions and caused problems. So we always try to be mindful of that. And I just want to make sure that we constantly keep that in mind, that he is the owner of this coin. We are simply followers of his vision. That's it.
And to add on to what I just said, because he's 100% accurate there, is, I mean, we've been talking about this for like the last 7 days, as far as, structure that needs to be made and communication between Josh and the community. And I think we're literally the community that really forced the issue. So we kind of caused this entire thing to happen, guys. Like, this is actually pretty amazing to see how it's happening, because like I said, we could literally be, I think we're pushing the ship in the right direction, guys. This is like unbelievable.
Power to the people, man.
Why are we doing this?
Right, GB, though? You know what
man.
I'm saying? It's pretty crazy, guys. You guys should be pretty happy with yourselves, because I know it sounds crazy and everyone's like, oh, the coin's going through some turmoil. Oh, sell. It's like, this is so awesome, guys. This is like, we're getting some progress here. I mean, this is great for the community. I mean, it sounds like it's bad, but I don't think it's bad. I think it's awesome.
Not if it's got the true people behind it, which is what it needs.
Yeah, exactly, man. Full
Exactly.
transparency and community, guys.
Yeah, and a full structure that's going to push and roll out all the tech and stuff at a
transparency as well, and
Yes.
everyone's happy.
Yes, it's time, guys. I'm going to leave, man. I'm super excited.
and a lot less. We'll post news soon.
Guys, this is like the step in. This is like 1 step for B3, 3 steps for man. In the right direction. We're going to the moon, baby. All right, guys, take care. I'm like gonna sit back and watch all the mayhem ensue now.
Nice one, dude.
All right.
See you, man.
This is Oregon Green. I'm signing off this channel. I'll be back in the regular channel with just my Oregon Green. All right, later.
Oh, can I ask something? Just
Guys,
one thing.
What happened? Can anybody in 10 words or less just quickly, briefly explain what happened?
Did Evan
Hello,
take over?
can I ask something?
Yo, this fucking shit went nuclear. That's what happened.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm working behind the scenes with Agapito and Soldier 21, and well, I would like to know because actually we're working behind the scenes and we're making the spreadsheet with the rewards that people got, and I don't actually know what I'm doing it for. I mean, I don't have a clue. I'm doing it, but I don't know why. So if someone knows, that will help.
Yeah, this is why some of us were trying to get a code change, so we wouldn't have to deal with it. Does anybody know what exactly happened? I get it when nuclear. I get all shit hit the fan. Blah blah blah. Can anybody 10 words or less explain exactly what's happening? Like
Yeah.
Evan
So
trying to take
basically,
over. Yeah. Go ahead.
basically, Anonymous he bought a car with his B3 coins, and he didn't give a shit about community, and they were arguing with Jamie, and they wanted to fire Jamie, and he said that he was leaving and everything, and then they created. Now it's like a split, right? So we've got Josh, Jamie, and Crypto Kane, and then we've got